Hi, this is Uncle Matt's D&D Studio. I'm Matt Finch, and if you play Dungeons & Dragons, and especially old school Dungeons & Dragons, please hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel, and now we'll move on to the video.
I'm going to take up your whole day. Hi, this is Matt Finch, and I'm talking to Zak Smith, and we weren't planning on doing this video here. We were just doing the side talk, and we started on painting and scenery, and since it's something I'm in the middle of, I want to talk to Zak about it. Zak, say hello to everybody again.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, so yeah, I just asked the question of, do you paint your own minis? And Zak was saying, that a lot of the stuff that he's gotten was from when he was doing starting off his show. And then we got into, but scenery we do. And Zak, you were about to start giving tips. You said, I take foam and...
Oh yeah, I'll walk over and I'll grab a piece and I can show you.
Excellent.
So, let's see, I'll get a good one. So like I was making this temple, and this is just a piece of scenery. So I walked into my elevator, and this guy had this whole box of styrofoam packing stuff with his two friends, and I was like, "Hey, is that all styrofoam?" And they were like, "Yes." And they were looking at me like they expected me to be like, "That's environmentally unsound," throw that away. And they were like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Can I have it?" And they're like, "Oh, sure." So this is just like the corner piece off of something that would like your computer would be in.
Yeah.
But basically, you just like I did a real sloppy job because it's just for a same day game. So but basically, you just take like the packing material that your computer comes in, or whatever, like any kind of appliance, and then you take you get some water and some black. I usually use acrylic because that's what I paint with anyway. And you just slap on a wash of black, and it gets down into the texture, so it creates this like thing. And if you do a lot of black, if you do a lot of water, it comes out this sort of gray. And if you do a lot of black, it comes out a more post-apocalyptic looking kind of burnt texture. But that's like a great way to make like walls and a few like just get a few like rectangular things, and you can make dungeon walls really quickly just by putting them together.
Yeah.
I like scenery that's my trick.
Okay, so all right, here's what I do. I do a lot of the Hearst Arts stuff. I don't know if you've run across that, but okay. So it's the guy makes molds of basically bricks, and so like on this thing here, we've got a door. Actually, this side's a little cooler because it's got stairs. But you can see the horizontal split there. That's one block, and so you can put those. This is pretty boring. It's because you got to have a certain number of basic dungeon walls, but you can also, when you've got a few of them, start putting them together into much weirder stuff like this. This is my wall of an area that's inside a Kenku apartment. So it's birds. And so it's got like, there's planks there that you can stand a figure on conveniently. And then the birds go up in there. And so this is, nothing like anything that you can buy, with pre-made scenery, or you can put together something like this, which is an altar, just by sort of combining the blocks in different ways. So that's mostly what I do. I don't, I don't so much do the foam stuff, but
I do a lot of scavenging. I'm always waiting for someone to throw out a dollhouse. That's the mother lode. But I use a lot of like toys. Like I'll, like if you like for post-apoc stuff, I'll just grab like a Star Wars toy and like smash it with a hammer, and then but you can, if you go to like, I mean, if you live in the suburbs, like you live in the suburbs, but there's like suburb like areas in LA, people are always throwing away toys, like because the kids just grow out of them or they break them, and they're elaborate, and they have like floors and ceilings. Like I had one that was like, I threw it away when I moved, but it was like one of those garages where the car comes in here and then there's a ramp and all that.
Yeah.
And you take that and you can basically paint it gray, and then you can like put textures on it by sort of like putting glue all over it, and then like dropping like little bits of foam, and it starts to like look stony. You can make it into like a sort of dungeon setup. But yeah, a lot of that stuff is great because it's basically all made. Another good source is pet stores where they have the aquarium things.
Oh, that stuff's expensive though.
I've seen like I got a boat for like, I don't know, $14, and it's like a little pirate ship, you know, that sits in the bottom of a tank. It doesn't have an elaborate hamster, but like, you know, it's like cheaper than like a model ship that you would get from, you know, but it like, well, all your minis will fit on it, you know, and but yeah, and there's little castles. So those are, I don't know, the ones I've seen are pretty cheap, like, you know, like less than $20 usually.
Oh, well, okay, that may be the difference between me being in the suburbs again, is that I may be getting charged a premium on the stores that are near me.
Aquarium furniture.
Yeah, aquarium furniture is jacked up. But so oh, what was I going to say? Because I had something. Oh, yeah. So, all right, here's my tip for doing stuff that you end up with is that part of what I'm doing is a city, and I will, let me grab just some of the random city things that I've got here. So these are compartmentalized walls, and so here I've got one that's a piece of paper that's sort of saturated in diluted Elmer's glue, and then you know, it was just a printout from the computer, so I get this sort of, you know, sun-shaped tapestry on the wall. And this is a it's like a rubber stamp of an Islamic pattern, and what I did was I just sort of banged it down randomly to look like paint. And then here's another segment where you can see, you know, the plaster stuff. And here's a door once again with that stamping thing on it. Do you know what I'm holding up?
I mean, I can see it's a door, but I can't see any more details. It's just
no, I mean in terms of the actual physical structure that I'm holding up. Do you know where I got it from?
No.
That's a cigarette box.
Oh, nice.
Since I smoke, I was like, you know, hey, you know, you can take these cigarette boxes, spray paint them. You got to spray paint them with something dark so that you eliminate the ability to see through anything to the cigarette thing. But then they stand up great, you know. So and you can, so those are pretty good modules for something
cigarette
like
boxes are great as our bottles. Bottles are really good for towers.
And coffee can. Here's my coffee can tower. You can sort of see the origin on it. Unfortunately, it didn't come out as great. But here's my coffee can tower for Wizard Tower.
I see the origin. However, all you need is a little crown on top of like crenellations, and suddenly it's like, what is that?
Yeah, that's what I need to do is get something that breaks the pure cylinder. There, it's otherwise the texture is pretty cool on it. But all right, so that's painting minis and making scenery. What other stuff have you done with that? Because you did mention in the earlier video that we made that you had taken a bunch of stuff and built a big temple for it. Do you have any parts of that left over? Or
I actually have it still set up. I'm gonna switch to Wi-Fi and I can show you. So
okay.
It'll go off for a second, and I can actually just point the camera at the table. All right. Let me know if you lose.
Yes, I lost the connection. Let's see whether you can get back on again. We may have lost Zach. We'll see whether he can get back on again. Here we go. He's back again. All right.
All right. I just got to move the chopsticks off of it. All right, so, and I've got this. So this is built. So some of it is I use this giant plants, and then there's some railroad. Like this is just like moss that I think it's used for railroad modeling. There's a green towel down here. This chunk of a statue is a giant mannequin head, size mannequin. It's like a wig mannequin head.
Well, everything just went dark over there, Zach.
Like gray wash.
Yeah. I think we just lost your video.
Gemmed floor over here is just a fancy phone case.
We lost your video, Zach. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let's see.
Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing what your camera's showing. I've just got dark. There we are. I can see you now.
All right. You see me?
Yep, it works. Okay.
There's a fancy phone case, which was a floor over there on it, which was a brooch.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually it's a bug brooch. Was made of packing material. Actual D&D scenery.
Mm-hmm.
And then those shiny things are candle holders. So yeah.
That's cool. Now, and so that was for post-apocalyptic, or that was for D&D?
That was for D&D. It was for, I'm doing right now. I'm doing. Oh, God damn it! You still see me?
Yeah. Yeah. Still got
okay. I was doing Jacob and Company's Swordfish Islands.
Hmm.
So there's a big temple on the island, and so I just built that temple. I kind of built it around that giant head because I thought, like, what if there was a colossal statue and it collapsed in? So I just cut the mannequin head at an angle, and then.
So somewhere out there's a store with a headless mannequin now.
Well, the mannequin heads are actually, you know, for when people have wigs, they're just like they sell them like that. So,
yeah,
you know, they're heads. So, yeah,
I
they're
like,
a great
so,
source. Thing you would only need once.
Yeah, that's true. So that, I mean, that's awesome, because you can see that with that as a starting point, you know, you're really going to get to something unusual. One of the things I've found is that sometimes when you assemble things or have parts of things, you end up with something very different from what you originally would have done, and it's, you know, it's creative looking. I mean, even with the Hearst Arts blocks, which are like Legos essentially, you know, you start putting them together, and you're like, you know, wow, this is really interesting. What if I do this and this and this? And
yeah, doing, like, in the doing is fun. Also, it's also really fun to set up the scenery, key it after it's set up, so you're looking at it on the table. And then you're going like, oh, well, there's that. Like, that's interesting. Somebody might look at it. What is that? You know, and then you, and out of the 3D space that you created.
Yeah. Hey, let me, you're still on your Wi-Fi. Can you switch back to the direct one? Because your sound's cutting in and out a little bit.
I said I like to key things after I build them.
Yeah, keying things after you build them is you end up with interesting stuff, especially if you were, you know, screwing around with unusual materials. One of the things I'm working on right now is that the grass, the particular kind of grass out here that we have, grows on like almost a little vine, and then it comes up with a tuft, and then a tuft, and then a tuft. So I've been finding the dead ones, breaking those little vines off, and I'm slowly gluing them together into what is eventually going to be a super gnarled looking tree that would never ever grow in reality that way. And you just, you know, super glue and twist them around, and they're flexible enough that you can.
Yeah,
do
it's
that.
also just good to have like a bag of like just random tufts of grass and pieces of trees, like, or like branches, because you can just, like, it's amazing like how well they can just simulate like plants and stuff, like if you just put them down.
It's, what's funny too is the times they don't. Every once in a while I get something where I'm like, you know, this really ought to look real because it's real. It's like, you know, no, you change the scale a little bit and it doesn't do it anymore.
It's
but
also,
I've been doing,
if you're eating and you're not, you know, too freaked out by this, you can just take a hot dog and go, it's a giant worm, you know. Have a little moment like that, because the players are like, ah, you know, it's like a good, like, wake up everybody, you know.
Yeah, I had gummy worms. Gummy worms have made an appearance in a couple of my adventures.
I always wanted to do, like, for somebody's birthday or something, like do an all edible adventure, you know, where you're like, there's gummy bears and gummy worms, and like, you know, you fight, you know, like you've got like, you know, everything's made of like marshmallows, but.
And you could do it. You could put the whole thing in a city made of cheese.
Yep, you could actually do a city made of cheese.
See, there, you know, even what you think are the strange ideas can sometimes work.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I said city made of cheese, like I started thinking like, oh, but what if we actually do it? Like, how do you legitimately make a city made of cheese? Like, how do you make that like seem like super dark fantasy? Like, pitched that to James, and like, yeah, they actually live in a city made of cheese. And I was like, okay, well, there's hard cheeses, and then there's like, oh, you go Skaven, like rat people, and you can be like, okay, well, cheese is really just mold, so it's sort of a fungus city, you know, and yeah. So.
Yeah, it's blue cheese. Yeah, where I went from that was I was lucky. I didn't get stuck in that one. I was like, well, you know, the moon's made of green cheese, and so then I just ended up on a moon, thinking a moon adventure.
Yeah, I think we've got a good pitch here. You know, we should definitely sell it to somebody.
We should we should totally put an outline together, and both of us very seriously and somberly pitch this to Jim Radji and put him in the situation of having the two of us working on an adventure, only it sucks.
Super dark, like illustrations of just like limburgers, like
that would really be hilarious. I would love
to. Yeah, he'd do it as a free RPG day thing, and then and it'd be like, what the fuck, and that's a marketing genius.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're done with scenery and painting miniatures. And so we'll move on to the next video, in which we are going to be talking about, we're going to be doing some brainstorming for the campaign that I'm just beginning right now.
Okay.
All right, everybody, that's the end of that video, but there are many more. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and whatever kind of D&D it is that you play, imagine the hell out of it.